don't have as much time as I need to see everything. That is what makes it so special.
There's a place, deep in the woods,
Come on.
Wait up!
across a creek, where the worries of the world can't quite reach you.
What if there was a magical kingdom that only we knew about?
A place born not out of magic and pain, but friendship.
You're pretty good at art. For a boy.
Okay, truce.
That place is Terabithia.
And though it doesn't exist on any map, millions of readers and viewers have watched it over the years.
Leslie!
But Bridge to Terabithia is not a fantasy in the usual sense.
It's not about dragons or quests or saving the world.
You're supposed to beat her up. You're my brother.
Keep an open mind and you'd be surprised what finds its way in there.
But instead, a story about a rope swing, a quiet boy, a free-spirited girl, and the invisible line between childhood and tragedy.
Next time, we should invite Leslie to go. She'd like that.
A film I grew up watching over and over again with my siblings.
A story that I could share with my friends and my siblings a lot easier once it came to film format.
At the time, and in retrospect, this movie still has and had extremely high praise for its ability to make the audience emotional with its plot.
Jess and Leslie
My mindset on this film has changed immensely since becoming an adult, and after revisiting Bridge to Terabithia, I find that while it's sad,
Where have you been?
Mom, I asked you.
I found my perspective on why it was created has shifted.
I wrote Bridge to Terabithia because I couldn't do anything else.
the writer Katherine Paterson was trying to say something.
I did what writers often do when they can't do what they really want to do. They write a story to try to make sense of something that doesn't make sense.
She clearly believes that books and stories can help people. It would win Katherine her first 2 Newbery Awards.
Katherine Paterson didn't write a fantasy. She wrote a eulogy disguised as a playground.
At the center is Jesse Aarons,
Sneaks, Aarons. You wear your sister's hand-me-down underwear too?
a boy trying to outrun the noise in his own home.
Thank.
I put the journal right here. They gotta
Damn
be
it, Jess.
maybe.
Keys to the store on there, the register, all of it.
He runs because it's the only thing that feels like his. He draws secretly because he's ashamed to love something delicate.
You're really talented. Jess, don't let those other kids get in your way.
And he says very little until Leslie Burke moves in next door.
You following me?
No. I live over there. We're neighbors? He got little sisters?
A character that a lot of young boys could empathize and project onto.
See you later.
Weird and weirder.
Hey, be glad he's found a friend.
Reversely, Leslie is everything Jess isn't. Talkative, curious, unafraid.
About the trolls under the bridges who collect tolls from unlucky travelers.
The kind of person who doesn't just read stories, she lives them.
Really?
Yeah.
She tackles bullying, she stands up for things,
Hey! Free the pig! Free the pig! Free the pig!
and has a creative spirit she shares with Jess. Together, they build Terabithia, a secret place in the woods where they're king and queen, where the rules are theirs.
We rule Terabithia, and nothing crushes us!
Where the fears of the real world, bullies, parents, being too weird, can't quite reach them. But this film is honest in a way that most children's stories aren't.
A warning if you somehow haven't seen the film, spoilers will be talked about ahead.
It's a terrible thing. It doesn't make any sense, but it's not your fault, Jess.
Most stories about childhood end with a lesson. This one ends with a funeral. Leslie dies,
Your friend Leslie is dead.
suddenly, in a way that feels almost meaningless.
She drowned in a creek this morning. Apparently she tried to swing across on a rope and it broke.
That if it's hard for me, how much harder it must be for you.
And it destroys and rips Jess apart.
Jess, you're the best friend she's ever had. I want to thank you for that.
I don't get students like her too often.
There's no climatic battle, no redemption arc, no final hug.
An empty seat in class, and a creek that now feels too far to cross.
She hit her head.
She's not even dead. You're lying.
Jess!
That's a death he couldn't have stopped, even if he was there. And that's a really important part of the story. His guilt and self-blame is unfair.
I didn't invite her to go to the museum with me. Wasn't there to go with her. It's my fault
But he still feels it.
that I'm going to hell because it's all my fault.
Grief is a monster that settles on your back, It weighs you down and whispers lies into our ears.
And this movie puts a spotlight on it in a way that makes people who don't feel that way still empathize and offers comfort to the people who do.
I don't know everything about God, but I do know he's not going to send that little girl to hell.
And maybe that's part of why it stuck with people for decades. Because it doesn't just acknowledge grief, it invites you to sit with it. He grapples with the feelings of guilt immensely.
And as someone who's lost loved ones unexpectedly in my own life, I see it in this film.
You play over the smallest of things. Even the tiniest thing done differently might have saved your loved one. Phoning them and delaying them by a minute. Mentioning flowers last time you talked to them so they turned left to the florist instead of right towards the moment of their death.
Forget something?
Telling them you love them one more time because it might have chaotically changed some tiny thing about how they lived that day. And also, they'd have known that little bit better how much you care.
And when people die, we are left to deal with these emotions.
I said go home!
This is where a sad but core truth to this film lies. Grief is part of growing up, real growing up. The kind that happens when you're 11 and you learn way too early that magic doesn't protect people.
That even queens can die.
Leslie!
This movie is tangible. It allows us, the viewer, to really see grief, survivor's guilt, childhood abuse, poverty, all in one story. But the film doesn't end in this sadness valley. It doesn't let us drown as the viewer.
Seriously, do not think God goes around damning people to hell. He's too busy running all this.
Jess doesn't just get over it. He doesn't magically wake up and forget about Leslie or his trauma with the situation.
Leslie would have wanted you to have him.
He does something, though, that I think speaks volumes metaphorically. He builds a bridge.
Wait! Can I use the lumber by your house?
For Maybelle, his sister, and it's metaphorical in the sense of him opening up his little section of the world that felt like his kingdom to others. It's transformative for his character.
I'm sorry I pushed you.
Bridges are meant to connect two lines that do not intersect. They are meant to bring people together in a lot of ways.
Princess? Who gets to be the princess?
And in that moment, it's not just sweet, it's revolutionary. Because Jess isn't escaping anymore. He's leading. He's saying, you can come too.
He's saying, even though she's gone, the world that she showed me doesn't have to be.
He's saying that he's willing and can connect again with others. This is where the story becomes something rare. It doesn't offer closure, it offers continuity.
See ya!
Yeah, see ya!
The idea that people don't disappear, they ripple. That what Leslie gave him, imagination, courage, permission, didn't die with her. It became him, something he can live on with every day and keep her free-spirited energy alive.
Thanks. A lot.
But the best books are not just about problems, they're about a child's heart.
This book looked at them and said, yes, you are allowed to cry. You are allowed to miss someone. You are allowed to build kingdoms that only you and your best friend can see. Katherine Paterson wrote this book after her son's best friend died in a lightning strike.
Both my friend and I were new to a school, and we had no friends, and we had almost an instant bond.
And that's also why it was so close to the book.
He was like the real life Jess, I guess. He went through the same thing that Leslie and Jess went through in the movie.
That kind of grief, so sudden, so absurd, feels unwritable, but somehow she wrote it. And in doing so, she gave her kids a roadmap through the fog. Not a way out necessarily,
but a way through.
I think it says a lot that a film was ever made about this book. Twice nonetheless. Between 1984 and 1992, the Walt Disney Company teamed up with PBS to produce a made-for-TV anthology series based on beloved children's books. It was called Wonderworks, and it featured adaptations of classics like Anne of Green Gables and The Chronicles of Narnia. Bridge to Terabithia premiered as part of the lineup. The 57-minute film was shot in Edmonton, Alberta, with Paterson receiving writing credit, though the script was largely penned by executive producer Nancy Sackett.
You lie! Leslie ain't dead!
The reception, not great.
Performances by the young cast were widely seen as flat and unconvincing.
But I hurt so bad inside, Daddy.
On top of that, much of the dialogue was clearly dubbed in post-production.
Not
course the kid's fathers beat him.
which only added to the sense of low-budget awkwardness. So some time passes, and in 2007, David Paterson, still filled with grief for surviving and his friend not in his childhood, got permission to start trying to sell a script for another movie.
It works, and David Paterson comes on board as co-producer, determined to make sure the story stays true to his mother's novel.
This doesn't happen a lot because a lot of authors, like, you know, when they hand the book over, it's like handing over their baby, like they changed it so much. But we kept really true to the book quite a bit.
Production officially began on February 20th, 2006, with a budget of $20 to $25 million.
No talking, no chewing gum, no electronic devices.
When Katherine first saw the finished film, she cried. She praised the cast, admired what the team accomplished with an indie-sized budget, and embraced the changes made for the screen. None of them ruined the story for her. She was especially proud of her son for holding his ground and protecting the spirit of the novel.
Hey, I'm talking to you! What's the matter, Hoger? Afraid a girl's gonna beat you?
It turned Annasophia, Robb, and Jess Hutcherson into household names, and brought the novel back onto the New York Times bestsellers list. For David Paterson, the movie offered something deeper than success or recognition.
It gave him closure, because behind every beautiful moment, he's still thinking about Lisa.
And the way death sometimes hides inside joy.
Mind like yours wide open, you could create a whole new world.
The 2007 film adaptation also caught a lot of people off guard. The trailers sold it like a fantasy adventure, but the movie itself stayed true to the ache of the original.
I find it personally hilarious in hindsight that it was marketed to be a fantasy adventure film.
That so many of my classmates and friends at the time who went to see it didn't know they'd be leaving those theaters slightly emotionally damaged. In a way, I think it helped bring this heavy topic and piece of art to many eyes who would maybe never have given it a chance.
And the bait and switch of the trailers, while slightly misleading, I think did wonders in making sure they hit the demographics they were hoping to hit in society during that period of time.
And just like that, a whole new generation had found Terabithia.
Was it worth it?
It's never been as flashy as Hogwarts or as vast as Middle-earth, but it didn't need to be. Terabithia wasn't about scale.
Jess, I called you 3 times.
It's your girlfriend.
It's about sanctuary.
And if you've ever built a fort in your backyard, or invented lore of the friend, or named the trees, you've been to Terabithia too.
Bridge to Terabithia isn't just a book you read when you're a kid. It remembers what it felt like to lose something too soon.
It reminds you that magic isn't always gone, it just sometimes changes shape.
What she gave you, you can give to other people now.
Sometimes it looks like courage, sometimes it looks like forgiveness, and sometimes it looks like a wooden bridge across a muddy creek held together with nails and hope. If you've lost someone, or if you're growing up and it hurts more than you expected, maybe it's time to return to Terabithia.
This time, bring someone with you.
But that is what makes it so special.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you so much for watching. If you found this movie engaging, I would love to hear more of your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below. I find film discussion so engaging and would love to talk more. Thanks for watching, and make fun choices.
I think you're gonna watch a fun fantasy film, and the next thing you know, there's like a dead 16-year-old girl. Check it out.